Yo, what up, internet? Fra Hashim checking in again from Flick Refinery. And today, I'm going to teach all my peoples who follow me how to take the perfect selfie every time. So for me, being somebody that actually does not like being in front of the camera, this was stepping out of my comfort zone a little bit to give you guys some content that I think will help a lot of people. So I wanted to challenge myself and see if these same principles from what I do with my portrait work applies when it comes to taking selfies with these camera phones. And honestly, I was a little bit surprised at what we found. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you an example of one of the selfies I took. And basically, I didn't spend a whole lot of time thinking of what kind of shot or selfie I wanted to take. I think the beauty behind selfies is you get to just capture yourself in the moment. It can be you want to show off something you just completed, or you're just having a good day and you just want to give your audience that good energy. You're feeling good and you want to capture that moment. So I was just trying to think of what exactly is a selfie? Like, what's the point of it? Obviously, the focal point of a selfie is going to be my face. I'm going to be showing myself, and typically we take them from an arm's length away. One of the first things that we should think about is how our face is being lit in the shot. So I took a couple of shots where I actually had a little bit of lighting set up. I'm using just the lights that are in my apartment. I got the Philips Hue system going, and I have one light that I'm using to basically just make sure that my face is being evenly and properly lit. And I'll put some examples of some shots I took, which I thought were like cool angles and like, you know, like just like a different aesthetic to them, but they just didn't make sense because when I looked at the picture itself, one of the main things that you should be concerned with is how is my face being lit? And I'm going to give you a pro tip. How are my eyes being lit? Okay. A lot of times if you watch other videos or tutorials on selfies, they're going to tell you about learning your angles. This is correct. You should definitely go in the mirror and just practice. Like, you know, I think I look a little better from this side versus this side. But in reality, it doesn't matter as much as how my face looks in that light. So once I started taking some shots and I noticed, like, I found myself like a lot of people, I started doing this weird thing where you kind of like, it's like I'm half in a selfie. I'm like looking at, I got the selfie, I got the phone down here, and I'm like taking a weird shot up my nose and just giving you some, like, I don't know, aggressive, like I'm not really trying to take this selfie, but I'm gonna give you this selfie anyways type of selfie. We don't do that anymore. What we're gonna do is make sure that we are taking our shots head on. So one of the main things that I do in any of my shoots is a lot of times the pictures are going to look best when the camera is at eye level with the subject. So the first thing you want to do when you start to, you know, to flick up, because you might take a few of these until you get it the way you exactly want it to look. But one of the first things you should do, raise that camera up. Raise that camera up to eye level. Don't be coming down from down here. No, don't do this, and because now you're showing me what's going on up your nose. We don't want to see that. We want to see you. We want to see this thing eye level. And you can kind of play a little bit. Like I said, you should practice in the mirror a little bit. Get your angles together. Kind of see how you look. You can kind of do a little bit of, you know, head tilting or whatever until it feels comfortable. That's one of the most important things about taking pictures of ourselves. We just want it to come across looking authentic and feeling comfortable. So once I have that camera or that phone is up, I'm eye level. This is where I live. Now I start to play a little bit, you know, with the angles, you know, with some expressions, some smiles or whatever. But yeah, that's going to be the first thing. Make sure you get that thing up. My light is obviously lit. I'm always focused on making sure my face is lit well. But the second thing is going to be making sure that I'm holding my camera up at eye level. And I really want to keep it perpendicular to my face as much as possible. I don't want to get too much of this slanting and all of this stuff. Head-on shots are really where it's at. If anything, you want to start to angle and move the body just a little bit if you have to. I also do recommend bringing the camera up a bit. It just seems to be more flattering. And also what you'll notice is most of the time our light source is going to be coming from up above. So if you look at my eyes now, down, right? I'm giving you some kind of weird vibe right here. If I bring this down like this, if you look at around my eyes right now, it looks like there's some little shadows going on. You know, I got some raccoon action coming. But if I bring my eyes up and toward this light, now the light is coming in and it's shining against my face. I'm looking good. And I bring that camera up, and now that light and that camera is action. It's action. All right. Now we got our camera situation going. We know that we want to make sure that we're trying our best to take good face on shots, head on shots. Bring that camera up. Don't be afraid of it. The last thing I want you to think about is what's behind me. Okay. I noticed when I was trying to get these selfies off in the house, be honest with you, the house ain't that clean right now, but we don't have to worry about that. We're having a good day today. So I had to make sure that not only is my face lit well, I'm taking it from a good angle. I also want to make sure that what's behind me makes some kind of sense. So even if that means I stand up and take the shot from a perspective where it's not a bunch of dirty clothes behind me, or it's a big, bright, shining light or something crazy behind me, just be mindful of what's behind you when you're taking your shot. In terms of editing our selfies, as long as the selfie is lit well, you know, I'm not really trying to come in and start photoshopping on my phone. I'm not really big on the phone editing apps myself, but I did go ahead and start to record some video just to kind of show you the basic things that I would do to an image in Instagram once I got my selfie off and I'm looking good. Let's see a couple of things that we can do in Instagram to bring out more of the image. It's really the same thing that we're doing in Photoshop. I'm not really taking an image and making somebody look other than themselves. We're really just fine tuning it and making sure that things are enhanced. All right, we're here real time on my little phone here, my little iPhone, and we're checking out a couple of selfies I took. I selected this one here to be a good example to you of what not to do. Okay. I'm coming at you with some kind of a weird testimony up my nose, and I'm half tough, I'm half not. But regardless, we're not going to do that, right? We're going to bring that camera up, and we're going to shoot at eye level. We're going to shoot perpendicular or horizontal to ourselves. So then now I'm coming into Instagram, and I just want to start to tweak the image a little bit. Don't really recommend filters too much with Instagram. I'm just coming in here and doing some clean, quick work, and I want this thing to start to shine. The first thing that I'll hit, if I need to adjust it in terms of how it's tilted, I would. But the first thing I'm going to hit is the brightness. Bringing the brightness down. Most important thing is I'm looking at how it's affecting my face. You know, that's what I care most about. You know, I'm the star right now. So I'm adjusting it left and right. I just found that for this image, I was a little bit bright in the face. So I brought that thing down a little bit. Next thing, we start to apply just a little bit of contrast. It darkens the shadows and it brightens the light spots a little bit more. Just a hair, because we're going to be able to adjust some more of the darkness, the shadows, and the highlights again in the near future. Next up, there's this structured thing. This is really what you're going to use if you wanted to do some kind of a like architecture, or you're going to be out taking landscape shots. This is really more so like it's not for portraits. This is for something else. So go ahead and skip that. So I do like to play around with the warmth. It's literally warming up or cooling down our image. So it's either going to bring in more bluish type of a hue for a cooler hue, or on the other side, it's going to bring in more reds or yellows to kind of bring some warmth to it. This was taken indoors, and I felt like things were a little bit moving toward the yellowy direction. So I just to my taste, I just slid that thing to the left and cooled them off a little bit. Next up, we got saturation, and I'm mostly worried about keeping my natural complexion as much as possible. I'm adding a little bit of color on this, but really that doesn't matter so much as I want to make sure my face looks like my face. So I am going to bring in a little saturation, brings in a little liveliness to that thing, makes me look alive. All right, next up, I do like to mess with, and this is why I don't really mess with filters too much. I like more control. So I like to go into my shadows. And if you've ever watched movies, you'll notice that there's a color theory behind adding bluer colors to the shadows and adding lighter or yellow colors to the highlights. It creates almost this cinematic look and feel. So an easy way to just start to boost up your selfies a little bit, go in here and check out the blue. You can double tap on that button just to see where you're at, and you can dial it all the way back. I think here I'm messing up a little bit. I picked the wrong joint. That's yellow. I want shadows. I want my shadows a little bit blue. Let's cool the shadows off a little bit. Yeah, you know, we just adjust that thing a little bit there to your taste, to your liking, and just make it feel right. It's all about feeling how you feel about the situation. So my highlights, since I've added that blue and yellow are complementary colors. Those are the most basic ones that you should know about. Again, just to taste, I'm only going to add a little bit because it starts to affect how my face looks, and I don't want too much of that. Be honest with you, I didn't spend a whole lot of time on this, but this is the basic process of even if I was going to spend more time on it. And what we can always check to see where we're going by hitting on the picture. You can see the before and after. Now we're looking at our highlights. Again, here the secret is to see how it's coming off on your face. I don't really care what's going on in the background. Now I'm looking at my highlights and my shadows. Just if I feel it's a little bit too bright, lower that highlight. And then the shadow part here is how you can actually add in some more contrast. So that's why we didn't add so much in the beginning, because I knew we were going to play with this a little bit later. So just to taste, you know, the contrast starts to bring in a little bit of drama, a little bit of, you know, punch to the image. So we're going to keep moving here. We're almost done, honestly. Selfies don't got to take all day. So I'm starting to look before and after. I liked it. And then I also posted an example of what not to do. You know, we're not going to be that guy. There, you just taking a quick selfie that looks good. I definitely want to make some more cool videos like this, just kind of out of my comfort zone, but obviously these skill sets can apply to multiple different areas. Thanks again for tuning in with me today. Make sure that you hit all of the different notification bells so you don't miss the next drop, and I'll see you in the next video.